Hey, what's up, guys? Brian Ellwood. Welcome back to the 12 Houses to Freedom podcast. Guys, if you're listening to this, then we just got back from our trip to Crested Butte. Crested Butte is a beautiful little mountain town in Colorado. It's small, not a lot of people, super chill. They've got a ski resort. Definitely Google it, check it out. And the snow is still falling out here. It's been a crazy, crazy winter. It's been almost a record-setting winter. Unfortunately, I have not gotten a lot of days on the mountain. Probably somewhere around 10 or 12 total days on the hill, which is pretty low. I've gotten up to 30 in some seasons, but we got a new puppy this year, and so I've kind of had to stay home and make sure that thing doesn't chew up all of the furniture. I know all you guys who have kids are laughing at me for bitching about taking care of a puppy, but if you've had one before, you also know that it's a lot of work right in the beginning. We got him when he was just 8 weeks old. We got him from a rescue organization out here in Denver, and his mom was a golden retriever, and his dad was part golden retriever, his dad was a golden doodle. Okay, so half golden and half poodle. So he's 1/4 poodle, 3/4 golden. He's a little sweetie. His name's Murphy. And our other dog, Penny, loves him to death. And it's pretty cool to see her kind of really get to have an animal friend for the first time, because she loves to play, but we've only been able to get her to play when we take her to the dog park, or if we occasionally will meet someone who has a dog where they play well together. But now she has a constant friend, and I think it's actually going to make life easier once he grows up. But a lot of my time has been spent taking care of this puppy lately and trying to grow my businesses. So it's been a little challenging. But anyways, that's what's been up with me. Hope you guys have been doing awesome. And I have an episode for you today that I really hope you guys enjoy. This is a takeaway that I got when I was in Phoenix a month or so ago at an event called High Performance Academy. It's done by Brendan Burchard. If you don't know who he is, then I definitely suggest that you start studying from him, put him in your rotation of people that you learn from. He's an author. He's written a lot of best-selling books. He's got a great podcast. He's got great online courses. And he does really good live events multiple times per year. And man, you have to get to his High Performance Academy. It will just level your life up, okay? You will leave there fired up, understanding what you got to do to be motivated, to have energy, to have a sense of purpose, to be successful in every area of your life, not just business. He is legit. And this guy uses science, not theory, to back up all of his teachings. Okay. He's done studies with thousands of different people, hundreds of thousands of people, and he is at the top of the industry. He's coached several U.S. presidents, Olympic athletes, Fortune 50 CEOs. He is the one that gets the call when somebody's having a breakdown and they need to be coached, right? He charges $1 million a year for you to work with him personally, but you can go to one of his events for $500 or $1,000, and you're there with 2,000 people, but for 3 or 4 days. But it is worth it, guys. I've gone to his High Performance Academy twice now, and another event called Experts Academy about how to be an expert in your industry and a thought leader and, publish your work and all that. Anyways, I want to tell you about one of the takeaways I learned, because as I was learning it from the guy who was speaking, I'm like, oh, this definitely applies to people trying to invest in real estate in a big way. Okay. And the first thing that he says, when he's speaking, he's like, the problem is not the program or the tools. The problem is with the operator or the technician. Okay. Meaning the problem is not with the car that is, ready to drive. The problem is with the driver. Okay. It's with the operator or the technician. And, what he went on to say was that, how many times do you buy an online course that has all the tools and techniques and strategies laid out for you, but then for some reason, no results happen, right? or you read a book and it's great and it changes your mindset and you feel like you know what to do. But then, 3 months goes by and you see the book on your shelf and you're like, oh yeah, I never really did that stuff. Right. I know personally me, I've spent thousands of dollars on coaching and things like that, gone to seminars and events, taken all kinds of notes. I've gotten fired up, but there's been lots of times where I haven't done anything with it. And, there's lots of reasons why you could argue that is, a lot of people would say, well, it's your mindset, and he kind of essentially said it was mindset, but he worded it differently. And the way that he worded it was what really stuck out to me and I identified with. Excuse me. So what he said is that we run into what's called an identity wall oftentimes when we are trying to make a new shift in our life, right? So we want to become a real estate investor. We want passive income. And we dig into that course that we bought. And then the course says something about, you got to go to a meeting and network with other investors. And then all of a sudden, walls go up and you're like, well, I'm not really the type that goes to those meetings. I'm introverted, right? I'm not the type of person that goes around and networks and socializes and hands out business cards. That's just not me, right? And so by being unwilling to make that identity shift to becoming someone who is willing to do that, you defeat yourself right off the bat. She's like, no, that's not me. I know when I was first learning to wholesale, it was like, you got to call lots of sellers and make offers. And I was like, whoa, that's not me. I'm shy. I'm introverted. I don't just call people. And another thing is I'm not salesy. I'm not a salesman. Salesman, man, snake oil, scamming people. I can't do that. I can't call somebody and make a lowball offer. That's just not me, right? I used to believe all those things. And so as a result, I had all the best tools, training, techniques, strategies, coaches, all at my fingertips. I had everyone in the world telling me what it was I needed to do. But because I was unwilling to identify as that person, I didn't take any action, right? And I just felt like, I know who I am. This is me. I'm going to be this way for the rest of my life. I'm going to keep it real. How many of you are out there are, because you're keeping it real and you're deciding that who you are now is who you're always going to be in every single way, that, that you're stuck, and it's also causing you to be stuck. There's certain parts of your identity that I agree should not change. And if they do, you might seem fake or inauthentic, right? Nobody wants to become the person that, becomes wealthy and then you turn into an asshole. That's one thing Brendan said at the event. He said a lot of people are kind of scared of success because they think they will become an asshole when they become successful. And you see people that drive Lamborghinis and post about it, and they post about how, badass they are and they're millionaires and all that stuff. And you're like, ugh, it's such a turnoff, isn't it? It still is for me too. And so, because we fear that we might become that way, we never take action, right? So that's another problem. It's not that we just can't identify as the person that's going to do the things we have to do to become successful, but we can't identify with that person that we will become when we get there. Okay. But one thing that is important to remember is that if you are intentional about who you want to become all along the way throughout your journey, you're going to be proud of who you end up as. It is possible to be successful and help lots of people and make lots of money and still be very humble and be very down to earth and, not be like a cocky asshole who brags all the time about everything. It's very possible to become that way as long as you are intentional about who you want to become along the way, okay? But you do have to be willing to think of yourself differently than you do now. When I first got into coaching and stuff, I was scared as hell just to make one post on Facebook. It's I'm not the type of person that posts on Facebook, and I go to Russell Brunson's event. He's like, you have to share more about your personal life if you want people to become attracted to like what you have and they want it. And then, they follow you and they, you draw people in if you share more about who you are as a person. I'm like, but I'm a private person. I don't want to seem like I'm bragging if I go snowboarding on Tuesday. I don't want to be posting about that. Like, and even now, it's just like, I feel weird doing that. Although it's actually necessary. If I want to reach more people, I've got to share more about me and the lifestyle that's available to you guys if you invest in real estate, right? And I have to show it off a little bit. But what I realized is that, it's possible for me to do that in my own way. I can take strategies and tools that are proven to work and I can put my own spin on them so that I'm still proud of the person that I am. Okay. So this episode, the intention of it is for me to encourage you to at least think about making a shift in your identity. Who do you identify as? Do you really identify as a real estate investor? Or is there something about being a real estate investor that's kind of a turnoff for you? Are you turned off by certain real estate investors and are you worried that you might sort of become like them if you do this, right? If so, how could you tweak it to be intentional about how you turn out or do it in your own way so that you maintain those elements of your personality and your character that you're proud of and you want to maintain, right? You're going to have to grow in anything you do. You're going to have to change a little bit and you're going to have to change your identity. I remember when I first started just doing like podcasts and videos, I still have videos of some of the first ones I ever did and they're so bad. Okay. I'm still learning. I'm not saying I'm like the best now, but like back then I was like, hey, what's up guys? Brian Ellwood. I'm going to teach you some stuff about how to make money. These are my 3 top ways. And I was like, literally that's what I sounded like. And I learned that you have to be more excited. You can't I can't start the episode out. Hey, what's up guys? Brian Ellwood. Welcome back to the podcast. All right. So, right. It can't be like that. Even though that's the real me, right? Like I'm pretty calm and I'm not usually talking like this. People won't listen to a podcast if you sound like a drone, okay? So even people who are introverted and shy, if they want to be successful on video or on audio, they have to put some more inflection in their voice and things. Like think about like someone who like is a caster for sports or an announcer for like UFC. They can't just talk in like a monotone voice. Neither can a professor that's teaching a class, or bore the class to death, right? So did all those people have to make an identity shift? And stop. So, well, I'm not really the type of person that talks like this, but I guess I could do it because I want to change the world, right? I'm not the type of person who could call and talk to a private money lender, but damn, my family's, me being around for my family is important enough. I guess I'm going to become that person, right? So being willing to make that identity shift up front is actually going to help you out a lot. What the guy at the seminar said was, if you're not fully like living in the shoes of that person that you want to become, if you're kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, then, so you haven't made the identity shift, then you're going to have to actually use a lot more willpower to do the things you need to do. Versus if you make the identity shift in your head fully, those things come naturally to you. Does that make sense? Say it again. Like if you're not really owning who it is you want to become, you will have to use willpower to force yourself to do those things because truly your heart's not in it. You haven't fully accepted that that's where you're going. So it's actually easier to make that identity shift up front. I interviewed Gino Barbaro, multifamily investor, on this podcast a handful of episodes ago. You can go back and listen to it. It's really good. And I asked him for advice, right? Because I want to be a multifamily investor too, but I am scared to do it. And I'm like, I don't know if I can. And I asked him what to do on the episode, like right in the beginning. Go listen to it. He's like, well, Brian, the first thing you need to do is you need to start identifying as a multifamily investor. I was like, whoa, damn. He's right. As long as I identify as a single family guy, I'm kind of pigeonholed to doing those types of investments only, right? I'm not going to seek out the bigger investments or do the activities that are going to lead towards that if that's not who I identify as, right? And even that's a struggle for me because I'm like, I can't buy a 100-unit building. And he said on the episode, well, buy a 10-unit building, whatever you're comfortable with that'll allow you to move towards having that identity. Okay. So I know this episode's a bit, theoretical, or it's like a theory type based episode, but guys, this identity thing is important. Like, are you fully owning who it is you're going to need to be to do the things you have to do to achieve your goals? Okay. If you're not, right? If you're not, and if you're worried about the person you might become, you will fully just completely sabotage your efforts right out of the gate. And it won't matter how many courses you buy, how many books you read, how many coaches you get. If you will self-sabotage. So getting back to what I said at the very beginning, the problem is almost never with the program or the tools. It is almost always with the operator or the technician that's driving the machine, that's using the tools, using the program. That is where the work happens. That is why we talk so much about mindset on this podcast, is because every successful coach that I interview, including my own experience as a coach, has said that what goes on in between people's ears is by far their biggest obstacle. So go out and determine who you need to be successful. Who do you need to become, and start being that person now. It will make things way easier. You'll be swimming downstream. You won't have to use willpower to get up and do the activities you need to do. Just go ahead and accept the fact that your friends and your grandma and your mom are going to see your crap and maybe, think you're weird or whatever. But you want this bad enough, and this is your time. So go out there and get it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Grab my free course on how to get money for your next rental property at fearlessfinancing.com. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.